Hey everyone, and welcome back. Before we begin here today, please make sure that you like and subscribe because it really does help out our channel, and it also helps us reach others in need of assistance with these topics. So what we're going to be covering in today's video is that we are going to be looking at algebra and how to multiply variables together that have exponents, and this will be our first part in this series. So we are tasked with simplifying each of the following expressions by multiplying variables together. So whenever you have two variables that are being multiplied together, it doesn't matter if they're x, y, z, q, doesn't matter what they look like. But if we have a variable of y, and let's say that's to the power of some value m, and we're going to multiply this by another y variable that has some power to the nth. And let's say m and n are actual real numbers like 1, 2, 3, whatever. So if we are multiplying these two together, we can actually simplify this down, make it a little bit easier, because that would just be our variable of y, and it would just be our first exponent, our first power, plus the second power of n. So if this was like 2 and 2, this ending result would just be y to the 2 plus 2, which would just be y to the fourth. And that is the rule, the overall rule that you would follow when multiplying variables together that are to some power. So let's work on some actual problems here. So we have x to the power of 6 multiplied by x to the power of 2. So following this overall rule, our 6 would be our m, and our 2 would be our n. So what we would have here is that we would have x to the power of our first one, which is 6, plus our second power, which is 2. And then we would just simplify this further down because x to the power of 6 plus 2 is essentially x to the 8th. So whenever you have two variables being multiplied together, you essentially just add all the powers together. So that would be our first one, x to the power of 8. Alrighty, so moving on to our second example here. We have 3 times x to the power of 5 times x. So a few things here. This rule that I laid out earlier does not matter, or it does not care what the numbers are being put together as. It does not matter what's in front of all your x's or your y's or whatever your variable is. You're just going to carry that number on through. So what we're going to have here is that we're going to have 3 that goes on through. And then we're going to have our variable of x, our first exponent, which is the m, which would be 5. Well, what is our 1 right here? We don't have 1. Well, it's not 0. Whenever there is not a power listed for your variable, that power is always going to be 1. So we would have 1 as our n. So this should just be 5 plus 1. So what we have here is 3x to the 6th as our simplification of 3 times x to the 5th times x. Alrighty, so moving on a little bit further here. Oh, look at this one. We have 3 variables here. So how do we deal with that? Well, let's just keep in mind that when we had 2 variables multiplied together with powers, we just added them together. Well, the same thing is true if we have more and more variables with additional powers. You would just add them all together, and it does not matter how many you have. You would just keep going on and adding them all together as long as they are the same variable. So once again, we would carry our 2 through. We would call this first one m, this to the second power as n, and to the fourth power we'll just label as p. So this would be my variable, which is x, and it would be my m, which is 3, plus my n, which is 2, plus my p, which is 4. So essentially what I have here from x times, or 2 times x to the power of 3, times x to the power of 2, times x to the power of 4, all simplifies down to 2 times x to the power of 9, since 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 3 gives me 9 as my power. So you took this mess here and made it nice and easy and a little bit simplified down to help you out with whatever expression this is being used for. So keep in mind that in order to use this rule for algebra, you have to make sure that your variables are the same sequence. As I said, it does not matter what variable it is as long as they are all the same in the expression. You can only add together the same expression variables. So I hope this video was helpful. And if you want to see more problem solvers Friday, please check out the other videos on our channel. Also, if you haven't done so already, please like this video, leave a positive comment below, and subscribe to the channel because all of that does help us out. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day.